Hi, Mary.
Is that Sue there, that one?
Yeah.
And that must be Ray. Hello.
Hi. Hi.
So I'll just start off with a little bit about what I do, and then maybe we can talk about what brought you to me today, okay? How does that sound? Yeah?
Sounds
Sounds
great.
good.
Okay. Let me just see if I can't get you a little bigger here. I'm gonna go to, let's see. No, I don't want to share screen. If I did want to share screen, could I share screen? If I was going to share screen, could I share screen? I don't need to. Never mind. I'm not going to share screen. I'm just trying.
You can share screen.
I could share screen. Oh, I see it down there at the bottom. Okay. So, I don't know how you heard about me or found out about me, but I'll just tell you I am a pandemic life coach. I do specialize in coupling. So people use a lot of words for pairing, getting together, romance, that kind of thing. But we'll get to that when we get to specifically why you're here with me. But I'm a holistic pandemic counselor. And by that, I mean that before we even begin, we're going to talk about our spaces that we're in. Okay. And we're going to talk about the objects that are around us and how they're affecting us right now. Okay. And I'll just tell you a couple of the objects that I have around me right now, and then we'll jump right in. Okay. So I always have this with me. I call it Reeser. It's just a rock, really, but you can kind of see all of the crevices and the complications to that rock. And then I have my favorite stick, and I use this, when it's not a pandemic, we pass this stick around, but I wouldn't recommend that right now. Hard to do. We wouldn't mail it to you or anything like that. That's not what we're going to be getting into. So why don't you guys tell me a little bit? I'm going to be scribbling furiously while you're talking. So, if you see me looking down a lot, that's what's going on with that. So why don't you tell me about what brought you here today?
Well, should we talk about?
Ray, why don't you go first?
Oh, well, Mary, we attended one of your seminars. I think it was here in Minneapolis at a place, I think it was the Bryant Lake Bowl Theater, is where it was held. And we just found, after that, we both were just saying, boy, that was really a very powerful experience and very enlightening. We were just really impacted heavily by it. We found it very powerful. So we just thought there was a lot of really good advice. And at that event, at that seminar, you handed out some of your business cards, and we've just had it on our fridge ever since. And the slogan on there, it's been kind of a mantra for me. Just in navigating my life and some of the challenges that I face. And so the pandemic's been hard, and when we heard that you were starting to bring some of your life coaching skills specifically into the pandemic, we thought, wow, well, maybe we should give Mary a call, and particularly when we came up against this particular issue that's been really kind of a challenge. I don't know if Sue wants to talk about that or.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really happy to be here with you, Mary. I'm kind of excited to work with you. And yeah, like Ray said, we've been bringing you up multiple times during the pandemic and about how powerful that seminar was that we went to. And so for me, it has a lot to do with the cats and this situation of switching sides on the bed. which we tried, I don't know, maybe a couple months ago.
Okay, I think you mentioned the sides of the bed thing in an email. And so I think we should dive right into that because, you know, something came up for me right away when you talked about the different sides of the bed, is I thought, where are their stones right now? So did you bring your stones with you when you moved from one side of the bed to the other?
Actually, I have a stone on my bedside table,
Mm-hmm.
On my
and
side.
I did not bring it with me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That
Okay.
pretty small. It's just a small, really thin white light. Um, it's good for calming the system,
Mm-hmm.
but I didn't bring it with me. Yeah,
Well, that was what was struck us right away, was we just thought switching sides of the bed would just be, simple. We would just switch sides of the bed. I would just get on one side and she would be on the other side. But pretty quickly things began to unravel when we started to, I didn't know how to turn on the light on her side of the bed, and my water glass was on her side of the bed, my old side of the bed.
Mm-hmm. 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 I'm gonna go ahead and light my candle now because I think I've got this dolly candle that I like to light. And it's kind of also like a therapy rule. Are you okay?
Yeah, it was just really hard when that happened.
Yeah. You were trying to turn the lamp on and off and it wouldn't work, but I wrote it down. So I won't forget to bring up the lamp again, but I want to talk about alternative forms of light now. So you're talking about a lamp, and there are other forms of light in our life. In our relationships, there's light. Also outside, there's light in nature. And this is my Dolly Parton candle that I light every night when I go to bed. And I wouldn't recommend leaving a candle burning throughout the night if I were you, just because, especially if you're on the wrong side of the bed, you're going to just, knock that thing over in the middle of the night, and then you're going to be dealing with a fire. And nobody wants that. So now that we've got Dolly lit, Dolly also serves as a secondary purpose in my therapy, which is to remind us that what we're doing here is magic. It's not a simple, straightforward answer. It's magic. Okay. So I'm just going to remind you of that and the other light sources that you find, specifically the ones right in your relationship. So let's talk about what the two of you do like to do together, even if it's not switching sides of the bed. What are the positive light sources in your relationship?
well, pandemic time is kind of tricky, but
Well, we, Sue got a new fire pit this fall, and so we built a couple fires out there in the back, and so that's been a nice source of light when we're outside, and especially when it's dark earlier. Um, for her birthday, I got her some patio lights that
Okay, I think Sue can take a turn now because we've got the first thing there. Thank you, Ray. Sue, did you want to talk about a light source?
well, one thing that we've been doing, which has been really enjoyable, is singing together.
Is what now?
Singing together.
Singing together. Okay, now we're talking.
Yeah. And I'm not the best singer, but I'm trying. And I enjoy it. And
she's been working on drums too, which is she's a little better drummer.
You have your drums with you right now in this space?
Well, she doesn't really have any drums.
yeah, my
Do you use your body as a drum?
Sometimes use my body. I'm getting creative, so all sorts of different surfaces in the house. We've got some bells. Um, I use the garbage can outside
That's really good.
often for certain songs. That's really great. Yeah, and I put my tap shoes on. So in general, I'm sort of like the percussion part of the band, and then again, I try to sing, but I enjoy singing, but I'm not trained, so
Mm-hmm.
but that's been fun and a light in our relationship.
And Ray, you're a trained singer. Is that what I'm gathering from this?
Oh, well, no, but uh, I sang in church growing up, um, and I was singing a little bit in choir in junior high. So, um, and um, yeah, it's really nice to sing together during the pandemic when we were just trying to find things to do.
What? What?
It's nice to do songs when we're to be singing when we're can't do other things that we would maybe do normally if it wasn't a pandemic.
Mm. Mm-hmm. Well, I want to talk a little bit about art if we can, because I understand both of you are visual artists. Is that correct?
Well, I mostly work in watercolors.
Okay. And Sue, you are a clay artist, is that right?
Yeah, that's one of the things I work in. It started with like to use putty when I get anxious, and so that kind of turned into a practice for me.
Mm-hmm.
Bleeds a lot, and so I just started. One time I was just you know doing a grocery list, and my nose started bleeding, and then I started I realized I could, like, oh, I could make a picture. And then I started using watercolor paints after that.
Yeah, I think we're gonna come back to that one. But let's talk about the cats, because I think that's an important part of your life. Now, how many cats do you have?
Well, we have two cats. I really want to get a new kitten.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've been talking about it since the summer, just that would make this winter so much more bright, enjoyable, because it's going to be such a long winter. And having a new kitten in the house would be really fun. But right now we just have two.
Ray?
Well, it's true. Sue's been talking about getting a new kitten ever since she put a new picture on her phone for her home screen. I don't know if you want to show that to Mary, but ever since she changed her home screen, she's just been talking about wanting to have a kitten, and I've just been a little bit concerned that it may upset the equilibrium of the other cats. They've already had a fair amount of trauma and stress, and they were abandoned in as kittens, and they were given their names, and then we gave them new names, and they don't know what they're, and now we don't even remember who was who with the original names, and so I don't know, they've been through a lot, and they take it out, they act out sometimes.
I mean, like any cats would.
Uh-huh. Go on.
Well,
Well, I tried to help by giving a new kitten Sue a new kitten for her birthday um, in the fall, and and that went pretty well. But it's not quite the same because it's not a real.
it's a porcelain kitten.
Mm-hmm.
which I love. It was such a good birthday present. I loved it. But you know, the cats, I don't know.
Did
They,
you did you do the usual things that you would do with a bunch of cats when you get them with your porcelain cat? That's what I'm wondering now is when you got the porcelain cat, did you treat it like you would treat a real cat? Did you imbue it? Did you chant with it? Did you hold it? Where did you hold it? What kind of trips did you take it on? Did you bring it out into nature? Did you hide it under a leaf, then find it again, just like you would with an ordinary cat? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Is one of the cats right there with you now? Do you have a cat right near you?
no.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Even the porcelain cat, you know, that's a gift, right?
Yeah, I mean, Tickles is the porcelain cat. That's Tickles is the name, and she's quite wonderful. She's definitely been out into nature. She has been out into some beautiful forests amongst moss and mushrooms.
Mhm.
And
She's a little, she's a little, yeah, we think she maybe has some developmental, challenges. Um,
Tell me more about that.
Well, I'll get her. 'Cause
I spend a lot of time with her. I definitely
Mhm.
spend a lot of time with her, and the other cats really enjoy her.
Okay. Well, this is Tickles, and she likes to wear she likes birthdays, and so she really likes to wear the birthday hat more often, and even when it's not someone's. I mean, it's always someone's birthday, right? So we figure it's okay, Tickles, you can wear the birthday hat, and then but he hasn't been able to put her tongue back in her mouth ever since we got her, and so um, it's just you know it can we just wonder about that sometimes.
Mhm.
Um,
Thank you for letting me look into her eyes like that. I have mixed feelings about cat paraphernalia in general. Because when I see a cat and look into the cat's eyes, I want to hear more about each of your individual relationships with cats in general, not the musical, but actual cats. And if you could use that as a metaphor, actually, you know, I think we might actually move on to some goals. Let's set some goals first, and then I'll just add a little bit of homework to those goals for our next session. So the homework will be a writing assignment about cats, and we'll just remember that for later. But first, I want to set goals with you two leading this. Okay. So I want you to put on your leader hats, you know, pretend you are the one who's running a seminar at the Brine Lake Bowl and that you're the one who's handing out the business cards, or you're the two. So for each of you to do this, both of you at the same time, we might need to use breakout rooms. I don't know if we have that option here. Why don't instead of using breakout rooms, why don't you go first, Sue, and talk about your goals for your relationship with Ray, and then Ray will go next and talk about his goals with your relationship. And while the other one is talking, I want you to just look each other in the eyes the entire time. I never want you to look at me and don't look at, you know, the video of yourself. I want you to look at each other while you're talking. Okay, and I still have the dolly candle burning, so let's remember that.